Happy Friday. Welcome back to 0 to 60. I'm Bri. That's Matt. And I got to get
Yo.
into our the bet was to take the under on Thursday Night Football. We all know how well that worked out as the total score was 76 points. And that brings me to our title sponsor of the show, Bet Online. The last of the major pro sports leagues is off and rolling, and college basketball is on its way as well. Bet Online remains your top spot for all your live betting action. Contests, needs, NFL, college football, UFC, NHL, they're all in full swing. And BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. All the hoops betting action you could want, along with every sport, is available at your fingertips with both the desktop and mobile access at any time. Head on over to BetOnline today and remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit, because BetOnline is where the game starts. We're not going to talk about Thursday Night Football just yet because we got to jump into championship college football. Matt, there's a couple of awkward championships going on here because there's a lot of storylines going on. There's obviously a lot of contention as conferences are disappearing. You know where I'm going with this one. Pac-12 to roll it. Oregon and Washington face off tonight. And possibly it's kind of marring some of the excitement here because it's the inevitable goodbye of the conference after they suffered a very slow death due to TV deals. Matt, can you give us your farewell to the Pac-12?
There you go, Pac-12. There's my farewell. I hated the conference when we moved to it. I am a godless heathen atheist. Okay. Last year, I remember after the Utah game in Folsom, where there were like 15 people there and it was snowing sideways and we got beat 69 to fucking 20. I remember sitting in my car with my son and praying to the God of skinny punks that we, number one, become relevant, check. Number two, get the fuck out of the Pac-12. And 1 year later, Coach Prime's the SI Coach of the Year, Sportsman of the Year, sportsman. And then, and we're going back to the Big 12. And I saw the conference schedule for next year, and I'm super excited. So, look, that's a long way to say goodbye to a conference that did not treat CU very well. I think that if we would have gone into the Pac-12 in like 2000 and then had the teams that I played on in the Pac-12, I think things would have been much different. But when you go in after Dan Hawkins destroys your program, bad shit happens. So the Pac-12, good riddance. I think, look, in easy land, Bree, with the college football playoff only being 4 teams and having 6, 7, or 8 teams that should be playing for the title. I wish that the governing board here, these 13 assholes that are going to decide who plays for the title, which is just so ridiculous to me. You have a playoff structure, but you really don't. It's like a favorite structure, which drives me absolutely nuts. It takes away from the integrity of the game, in my opinion. Why can't they just change it to 6 teams this year? I mean, we're changing it to 12 next year. So the inability to change your plan means your plan sucks. And, you know, in a perfect world, there's part of me that just wants Georgia to beat Alabama, Michigan to beat Iowa, Washington to beat Oregon, Florida State to beat Louisville, 4 undefeated conference champions. Texas can't complain at that point because Alabama lost. Alabama can't bitch because they didn't win the SEC. Texas has a loss. They're out of the party. That's the easiest road. Now, the chaos is, here's a very simple question that I'll ask you, Bree. If Texas beats Alabama in Tuscaloosa, where they never lose, which happened this year, and Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC title game, and Georgia's back-to-back defending national champions and hasn't lost, and that would be their first loss in 3 years. But Texas beat Alabama. Wouldn't Alabama and Georgia both be out if Michigan, Florida State, and Washington all win?
I could imagine that would cause an uproar for not only the fandom, but the snobby elite at the top who like to see those teams in contention.
There would be some pissed off people in SEC's country. But at the same time, it's not a favorites contest. So I don't understand how they can they can just disregard the fact that Texas went and beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. It seems very easy to me. If Alabama beats Georgia, Georgia's out. If Georgia beats Alabama, they're in. If Alabama beats Georgia, Alabama is out because Texas beat Alabama. So then I would put Texas in the 4 and spite the SEC. And I know that's crazy to hear, but it's only crazy to hear because we college football does this by opinion. They don't do it by winning. And like I'm going to use Penn State as an example here. Every year Penn State loses to Ohio State and Michigan. But who's to say, even with 2 losses, that they couldn't get in the 12-team playoff? They would be in it this year. And the 12-team playoff, most likely, and go on a run and win a natty just because they lost 2 games. Like, I just think that the college football really didn't think about this like they do everything. And this year is going to bite them in the ass big time because, look, if you think all the favorites are winning this weekend, you're crazy. It's Championship Saturday. Some crazy shit's going to happen. It's probably going to start tonight. The Washington-Oregon game was a 3-point game in Seattle. So we'll see.
I guess we'll see. There's a lot of directions we could take this, but I think the idea is that's why they're expanding the college football playoffs next season. They just didn't do it in time. I think college football has the opportunity to start making the narrative shift because, like you just pointed out, they don't tend to really jumble things up. They like to keep things pat, and it shows, and people are getting frustrated with that. So changes are coming. Obviously, conferences being riled up the way that they are changes a lot of things going forward. So maybe it's the catalyst that is needed in order for CFB to make those changes. Just letting people jump here into the what?
You just want chaos?
No, I think that I know that you're an agent of chaos.
Go the chaos route, or would you rather go? I'm an agent of chaos. Thank you very much. Would you rather go the chaos route and have everybody pissed off? Twitter will explode. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama beats Georgia and Georgia falls to 4 and Alabama goes to like 3, and then Texas doesn't get in, and you have 2 SEC teams in, and then Florida State's undefeated and they get left out, or Oregon beats Washington and they only have 1 loss to Washington, who they beat, they get left out. That there's going to be fan bases in an uproar. That as a guy who played on a team who got totally fucked out of a national title berth, it is the most deflating thing ever to happen to a team.
I know, but you're talking in the realm where you think that college football has ever been anything except for money for the institution. It's like it's not trying to make fans happy. It is to a point because you need the ratings, you need the money from the TV deals. But at the end of the day, it's never been about the football. It's never been about the better team winning. It's been about money. So I get the idea. Like, let's shake it up. Let's cause a stir. Let's storm the offices and figure something else out. But that's not how this works. It's not a democracy where we get to figure out what's the best system moving forward. The only thing that changes that is people stop watching and they stop participating. They stop buying the tickets, and then that's not going to happen.
Well, okay, so let's run with that then. Stop participating. If chaos does ensue, which I'm sure something crazy is going to happen, and if all 4 undefeateds get in, then I'll shut the fuck up. But when chaos does ensue, I say this again, college football players, it is time for you to strike, period. It is time for you to stop playing. Can you imagine what would happen if they just didn't play? Like, look, this is obviously a corrupt system. We're not going to keep doing this. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. If Georgia loses, they still deserve to be in. Well, then I guess the game on Saturday means absolutely nothing. Wouldn't you want to lose if you're Georgia so you have an easier road?
Yeah. Then you start talking about insider trading, and you start talking about the corruptness of allowing people to bet on CFB now. My frustration, I think, spans the idea that the NIL deals great for the player, but also don't really help in the idea where you're just purchasing players at this point. So I think there's a lot more frustration and chaos in the league right now than there has ever been. But it's not pointing in the direction of fairness. When has football ever been fair?
College football has never been fair. I'm not looking for fair. I'm looking for equal. I want to be on the field. And look, in 2001, when we whipped Nebraska's ass when they're number 1, and then you avenge your only conference loss in the Big 12 title game, and then they put the team that you beat by 30 fucking points in front of you because they hate America and played on 9/11, and we didn't. We love America in Boulder, so we decided to honor America on 9/11 and not play, where the people in Lincoln decided to play Troy State instead of cancel their game, and that got them in the national title. It's the most deflating thing that's ever happened on a football. We were in the banquet room watching, going, well, what the fuck? What did we just do this for? Now we don't get a chance to play. We wouldn't have beat Miami. The 2001 Miami Hurricanes is the best team I've ever seen. Arguably, Oregon taxed our ass in the Fiesta Bowl. They probably should have gone to the national title. But if it would have been a 14 playoff in 01, it would have been Miami against Oregon, us against Nebraska again, and we would have fucking rolled their ass again by 40 points. And then we would have gotten a chance to actually play Miami. So I just wish that it was less computer and less Condoleezza Rice in a room with 12 ADs trying to convince each other that this is all fair. And like, football's real easy. The NFL's got it right. If you win, you go. And when you get there, if you win, you advance. All this like voting for shit and speculation, none of the people in the chat, nobody actually knows if who's going to win. No one knows shit. The fucking fans don't know dick. So the pundits, we don't really know. Where everything's based on, what we see, not what we're not in the buildings. So it wouldn't put it past me for the SEC to go out and tell the refs I wouldn't be surprised if there's 20 penalties on Georgia and they lose, just so the SEC can get 2 teams in the playoff.
Did you just put a tinfoil hat on?
No, just to act like there's not corruption in this is ridiculous. Like, I would not put it past the SEC to make sure Alabama wins so they get 2 teams in the playoffs and spike 2 conferences. Because if they do that, Michigan's in. They're not losing to Iowa. Iowa can't score. Michigan is in. Okay? Florida State has to get in if they're undefeated. If they lose, it makes it easy. But Washington and Oregon, if Washington wins and they're undefeated, you're going to have 3 undefeated teams and Alabama and Georgia and Texas. And you just expect like the team that gets left out, the 2 fan bases or 3 fan bases that are like, what else can we do? Can you imagine if they leave an undefeated Power 5 conference champion out of the playoff? Why the fuck are we even playing? I mean, this is ridiculous, man. They've got to figure this out. And I understand 12 teams is coming next year, but I don't give a shit about that. Why aren't we doing 6 teams this year? Just change the plan. This whole assumption that we can't just change the plan is ridiculous. Is there any leadership? Is anybody a leader? Can anybody just suggest that we change this shit and make it work for everyone rather than just work for 4 fucking schools?
No, I think that it would imply that an overwhelming sweep of changes and oversights would have to be admitted to. Matt, I just realized that we're both wearing the same shirt. So if anybody in the chat also wants to wear the same shirt as us.
This is not coordinated, by the way. It just happened.
It was complete accident, laundry day. We know how it goes.
Look good, I'll tell you that shit. And these things will look good in a package underneath your Christmas tree. So buy some.
I was going to say stick it in a stocking.
Stocking, there you go. Stockings, perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, why isn't a stocking just a sock? Why can't we call it a sock?
Because it's not a sock. A stocking is. Yes, a stocking is another word for a sock, but a Christmas stocking has now been. Okay, so do you know? I mean, I assume, no, because I think the adoption of the stocking hanging was actually old socks, and now they've moved on to marketing it because Christmas is all about the merchandising and capitalism of how can we sell people new things every single year. So a stocking to hang by the fire used to be less of a knitted, decorated affair, and then it's kind of progressed because it's like, well, how can we make this tradition? And I don't want to get into the capitalism of Christmas. Do not tangential me. I want just to continue to talk about football here. But real quickly, as we move on from college football, I doubt this is the direction we're going to go. But for the Big 12 matchup, Texas, Oklahoma State, who takes it?
I hope Oklahoma State, but Texas will win. Next.
Gorgon says Christmas sock seems cool. A Christmas sock, yes, does seem cool. I want everybody in the chat to guess the 3 things that I would put in Matt's stocking for Christmas, and then that's what I'll roll with. ACC, Florida State.
Stocking?
What?
The 3 things you would put in my stocking?
Yeah.
No, it's someone else's. How am I going to drop you on your own fucking head?
Wait, hold on. ACC, Florida State's favored over Louisville. FSU is obviously working with their backup quarterback after Jordan Travis is out. Sorry to him. Louisville hasn't won a championship in its decade of conference membership. They came close in 2016. Do they make it happen here?
No, I think Florida State's a better football team, and they're on a mission. I mean, I work with Casey Roddick, and talking to him this week, they know that Jordan Travis is out, obviously, and they are super motivated, and they're going to mash the football. Louisville's good. Off a loss, they always win. But Florida State's a different animal, and they didn't run into them this year, so I'll take Florida State there. So I'll take Texas, Florida State. Who's next?
Well, I want everyone to vote for Cole in your stocking by liking the stream. That would make me very happy. Andre Duke, though, says a cowbell.
You're damn right, and I'll rock that fucking thing.
I will go missing, and you won't be able to.
I had a blister on my hand from rocking the cowbell so hard.
I will remove you from the stream. All right, Big Ten, on to Indianapolis, Michigan versus Iowa. Michigan versus Iowa. The Hawkeyes are the last obstacle standing in the way of the Wolverines. This will mark Michigan's third appearance in a row. I don't see the Hawkeyes shocking the world, Matt. Can Iowa pull off the biggest upset probably in championship history?
No. Iowa's defense is fantastic, and they're going to fly around and play hard, but their offense is unwatchable. I mean, it's dog shit. So I think Michigan beats Iowa like 42-10.
Just a complete wallop. Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
I'm pulling hard for go blue too. I mean, my boy Drake Nugent yesterday on the PFF college site on Twitter, which has a ton of followers, 302 pass blocking snaps on the year, no sacks, 1 pressure. Dungeon family. Say something.
Yeah, go blue versus everybody. Don't next me. We're moving on to Thursday night football.
Everyone.
Are you just going to talk right over me the entire show? That's fine. Thursday Night Football, Cowboys continue to roll. Both offenses were getting it done because, like I said, the over-under was like 36 points. Should have taken the under. But apparently the Cowboys really wanted to go 9-3. Hawks fall 6-6. Dak Prescott has thrown at least 2 touchdown passes in 6 straight games. It's a career high for him. And in the last 6 games, 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and last night's game went 0 punts. It is now the 5th game in NFL history to have that result. Matt, my question to you is Dak in the MVP conversation now?
Yeah, he's definitely in the conversation, but, being a great regular season quarterback is fine. He needs to do it in the playoffs. He's got to figure out a way to beat San Francisco, to beat Philly. They really struggled with Green Bay for a long time, but, Aaron's gone. So the question is going to be very simple for Dallas moving forward, and that is you can't be giving up the kind of yardage and points they gave up last night if you're supposed to be an elite defense. So now we've seen other elite defenses give up 70 points. So I guess it's all just par for the course, but I will say this: when Dallas needed plays last night, they got them, and when Seattle needed plays, they didn't look like they were on the same page. So DJ Metcalf, that guy is a fucking animal, by the way. Holy hell, that is one fast, big human being. He was incredible, but other than that, Seattle looked good. They didn't play good though. So when you look like Tarzan and you play like not Tarzan, that's bad.
Interesting adaptation of the saying there. I appreciate that. Also, DK's learned sign language at this point, so I really put it on him for taking it to the league. He had some not so nice hand gestures for Bland last evening, so I don't know. I think it's a fun little throw in there. But are you telling me that you don't think the Cowboys are contenders?
No, they're definitely contenders. They're definitely making the playoffs. It's in the playoffs, Dak shrinks. You would think that in the playoffs against the Niners, he would outplay Brock Purdy. He's supposed to be a better player. You would think that he could play even with Jalen Hurts, but it seems to me that the Cowboys it was their first win against a winning team all year. So all 8 of their other wins were against losing franchises that don't have a winning record. So And now Seattle's 6-6, so they're also in that category. Winning record yet, and that's fact. So I can't get behind them fully yet, but they do look good right now. I'll give them that. Dak has impressed me a little bit more than I thought he would.
You were saying Dak fizzles in the playoffs. I was going to make a mention similar to Aaron Rodgers, ? But we'll go ahead and move on.
Time out. Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, wow. When did he win that?
Well, no. You don't get to minimalize Super Bowl rings. I don't care when he won it. He's got 4 MVPs and a Super Bowl.
One of those was misinformed. One of those was an accident.
4 MVPs in 1 Super Bowl. That means something. That is pelts on the wall.
Sure.
So, yeah, but
he's past retirement. Do you actually think Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and play?
No, not this year, but he will be back next year.
So what's all the hoopla of tweeting out that he's, cleared to start practicing again and within 100 days of recovery from an Achilles injury? And
if he recovered fast and he's on the field and they're clearing him, then okay.
But he didn't recover fast and he's not going to play and he's not on the field. Just because he's throwing warm-up passes doesn't mean he's ready to play in an NFL game.
Yeah, I don't think he'll play this year. But at the same time, if he wants to go to practice and that's part of his rehab and everything, then I don't have a problem with it. I don't want him to just sit there, look like fucking Jared Lorenzen next year.
It feels a little performative.
You think it's Of course it's performative. This is called show business. This ain't called
It's called football is what it is.
Show business, entertainment, period.
Okay.
And every time he does something, there gets a click or a like. And they talk, look, the media doesn't have to cover it either. He's not the only hurt quarterback. The media could choose not to cover it. So I'm not going to be mad at Aaron for it.
You were pretty mad at Taylor Swift. So I don't understand how it's any different.
Taylor Swift can get fucked. I don't like her. I like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Okay,
come at me, Swifties. I don't care.
That's not, I don't think the problem is like not enjoying Taylor Swift. I think it's like being okay that Aaron Rodgers is a complete diva camera.
That's true.
Hog that really needs the attention. And it's like, I don't really think that it's appropriate to think that he's coming back. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that conversation because I'm already tired of it. I want to get into the NFL weekend matchups, though, because there's a lot of implications here for the playoffs. Obviously, for week 13, you had the Seahawks Cowboys kicking it off, and we're all looking forward to the Broncos and Texans. Matt, we were having an interesting conversation that I wanted to bring online. The idea is, are the Texans a little bit overrated and are the Broncos underrated in this matchup because of strength of schedule and kind of how the first half of the season worked out for both teams?
Yeah, I think that Houston's getting a lot of the benefit of the doubt just because CJ Stroud looks really good. And I'm not saying he doesn't. He's been phenomenal. Easily the rookie of the year. He's probably in the MVP voting right now, too, leading the league in passing. I know Sam Howell's got more yards, but he also played another game. And, homeboy's only like 150 yards behind him. So CJ's elite. He does a good job manipulating the pocket. They're good up front, not great. I just think Denver is a different animal. Like the Broncos are playing their asses off right now. They're buying in to what Coach Payton is preaching, and this is a huge opportunity for them to go and validate everything that they've done up to this point, which is win 5 in a row. So I think they go to Houston and get it done, and I really think that they eat, the offensive line and CJ alive. And he hasn't had a lot of turnovers this year, but the Broncos are forcing turnovers like crazy. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have another 3 or 4 this weekend. I don't see a letdown at all. I see a buildup. So, we'll see what happens. But I think that Denver's found their niche and how to win, and it works. So if I was not Denver, I'd be shaking in my boots.
Not Denver. So anybody and everybody versus Denver.
Yes. Denver versus everybody. The D versus all.
Dirty Denver versus everyone.
Hey, dirty Denver. Look, the fact that these softies in Cleveland and everywhere else thinks Denver's dirty, good. So what? Embrace it. Yeah. I'm a nasty motherfucker. Let's go. And that's the other thing is like the Pinners and the Walmart people, start paying your player fines. When your players get fined, that shouldn't come out of their check. You got deeper pockets than Croesus. Come on, dog. Pay your player fines. You want them to play hard and win and play good defense. Just take on everybody that gets fined every week. I'll pay the $125,000 fine, and we'll just move forward. That would be some shit.
Good news is that PJ Locke and Baron Browning were not fined for their hard hits last week. But I have a question to throw back at you with the idea that Houston's defense is not enough because their run defense is pretty good. In fact, it's what gives their defensive front seven any sort of snuff there. And also, Houston doesn't turn over the ball. I am 1,000%, and I have been for the last 4 weeks, championing the idea that the Denver Broncos the defense is capable of creating turnovers on just about anyone. But this one is sort of giving me a little bit of pause. I think maybe 1 is still possible. I hope that they can make it at least 3. But where are you thinking the turnover differential ends up for both teams?
I think it would be +3 for Denver. They'll get 4 and turn it over once. Look, Sean Payton is going against a rookie head coach. You're going against a rookie quarterback. If you're Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, you can't lose this game. I don't care how good C.J. Stroud is playing. It is unacceptable to lose to a rookie head coach and rookie quarterback when you're Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. So, period. So they need to go down and just stay who they are. The Broncos run the football, everything off play action, find the open man, rush, use your feet when you need to, try and be accurate. Defense. The minute we get the lead, the fucking dogs are out. And now we get the pass rush. And now we actually get to go hit the quarterback. So I'm telling you, I understand that Houston's hot and they look good, but the Broncos are real. The Broncos have a real defense. The Broncos can really run the ball. The offensive line has gotten a ton better. I'm pretty impressed on what I've seen in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to lean in. I'm still very optimistic. To think that it could be a 6-game win streak is really exciting for me. We talked a little bit too about what those playoff implications are, but let's make it through Sunday. And then next week, we'll go ahead and start walking through what it means to beat the other teams in the AFC West, how that changes playoff predictions and probabilities. But I want to run through a couple of the games right here because I'm interested on how you think these will work out. Not the most exciting matchups, to be honest, but I think that just points to the league being a little bit in flux right now. You've got the Bengals at Jaguars for the Monday night game. We'll talk about that, but I want to know right now, who do you think wins that one?
I would say the Jaguars. The Bengals are playing with a backup quarterback, the Browning kid from Washington. The Jags are rolling. They look good. Trevor Lawrence has figured it out exactly what Coach Peterson wants, and their defense is pretty nasty too. So, they've taken their lumps this year, but they're also 8-3 and fighting for that 1 seed.
All right. How about Lions and Saints?
Is it in New Orleans or Detroit?
It is in New Orleans.
If it's in New Orleans, I'll take the Saints because they are fighting for a playoff spot too, and Atlanta's leaving that division at 5-6.
All right. The one I'm most looking forward to, obviously, 49ers Eagles. How do you feel about that one?
This is the game of the weekend, in my opinion. Look, this is a rematch of the NFC title game last year, as everyone knows, where Purdy got hurt early, and then Josh Johnson got hurt, and then Christian McCaffrey was playing quarterback. So you're not going to win a lot of games when they know you're just going to run it every play. Now, all that said, look, if they can figure out how to just be consistent, they're going to be hard to beat. And San Francisco and Philadelphia are both pretty consistent football teams. So it's going to come down to quarterback play. And right now, I'll take Hurts over Purdy, although Purdy is playing his ass off. So this could be a preview of the NFC title game, unless Dallas has something to think about that. Detroit, but this is a big one, and it's a big one in regard to playoff seeding. It's a big one in regard to who's going to get fired, who's going to get hired. These are the kind of games you have to win if you're in the NFL.
Does this weekend swing the hot seat for any coach in your mind in particular?
I think that if the Chargers continue to charger, I think Staley will be gone pretty quick. But at the same time, it's risky. I mean, they just got rid of Frank Reich after like 10 games in Carolina. So, that's what being a coach is. You're a coach until you're fired.
How is Stu? All right, guys, we're going to get you out of here. 5 seconds left. 0 to 60 is brought to you by Bet Online. Matt, any parting words for the folks as we enter the weekend?
No, just thank you to all for all you do out there. Subscribe and hit the like button, and thanks for all the questions and everything. Bri, thank you for all you do on the show. And next week we'll have Jeremy Bloom on at some point during the week to talk Buffs and Coach Prime and so much more. Remember to follow on all the social media platforms at 60 Academy on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We're rolling. So great show, and enjoy your weekend, folks. And let's see if the Broncos can get a dub.
All right. We'll see you later. Go Broncos.
Later.